My name is Laura. I was born out of love, the kind that feels like sunshine after rain. My parents, Jane and Fred, were rich in more than money. They had been deeply in love for 8 years, and though their home wasn't built of gold, it was built of laughter, trust, and faith. They were the kind of couple people admired, the kind that held hands while walking down the street, whispered inside jokes only they understood, and believed that together they could overcome anything. But the one thing they couldn't control was time and waiting. My mother had always wanted a child, but for many years, pregnancy just didn't come easily to her. Each month brought new hope and new tears. My father would hold her hand when she cried and tell her that love wasn't measured by children, but by hearts that never gave up on each other. Still, my mother prayed and waited, her faith trembling but never breaking. After 8 long years, one morning, everything changed. She woke up feeling strange, lightheaded but oddly peaceful. When the doctor smiled and told her she was pregnant, my mother wept in pure joy. My father lifted her off her feet, spinning her around the room, laughing through tears. That day, their world shifted. They painted their future with new colors, and every plan suddenly included me, the baby they had dreamed of for years. My father promised to be the best dad in the world, and my mother promised to love me with everything she had. They even started keeping a small journal where they wrote letters to me while I was still in her womb. My mother wrote about how she couldn't wait to see my tiny hands and how she imagined me smiling in my father's arms. My father wrote that he would protect me, teach me, and make sure I always knew how loved I was. When my mother was 6 months pregnant, they prepared a room for me. It was soft pink and white, delicate, warm, and full of love. My father painted the walls himself, even though he wasn't good at it. My mother laughed as he struggled with the brush, leaving streaks of paint on his clothes and hair. They hung a small mobile above my crib with stars, moons, and clouds that gently turned in the breeze. My mother folded tiny clothes and placed them neatly in the drawers. Pink dresses, white socks, soft little caps. My father bought toys and books, saying that even if I couldn't read, he would start early. That room became their symbol of hope. The day I was born was one of laughter, tears, and miracles. My father couldn't stop crying. He held me gently as if I were made of glass, whispering, "My little sunshine, my dream come true." My mother smiled weakly, exhausted but happy. The doctors and nurses smiled too, touched by the way he looked at me, like I was the most precious thing in the world. Those early years were full of love. My mother would sing me lullabies while rocking me to sleep, her voice soft and full of peace. My father worked hard, but always came home early just to hold me. He was the CEO of Summit Tech Solutions, a man who led others with confidence. But at home, he was just Dad, the man who built pillow forts, read bedtime stories, and made me laugh until I fell asleep. But life doesn't always stay kind. When I was 5 years old, everything changed. That morning started like any other. My mother made me breakfast, porridge and a slice of mango, and kissed my forehead before leaving to buy groceries. I remember watching her wave at me from the gate, her smile soft and glowing. Hours later, my father's phone rang. I still remember how his expression changed as he listened. His face went pale, his hand trembled, and his eyes filled with tears before he even spoke. My mother had been in an accident. I was too young to understand, but I knew something was terribly wrong. That night, I watched as my father cried for the first time. The man who had always been strong broke down completely. My mother never came home. From that day, our world became smaller. Just my father and me. The laughter in our house disappeared, and silence took its place. He tried to hide his pain, but I could feel it. Sometimes I would hear him talking to my mother's picture at night, promising to take care of me. He kept that promise. He became both mother and father, cooking breakfast, braiding my hair badly, helping with my homework, and tucking me into bed. He'd leave early for work and still come home in time to read me a story. He'd whisper, "I'm proud of you, Laura," even on days when I did nothing special. He wanted me to know that love still lived in our home, even if it hurt. Years passed, and we slowly found a rhythm again. But then one day, everything shifted. My father met a woman named Clara. I remember the first time I saw her, tall, elegant, and wearing a smile that seemed gentle. She had a soft voice and always smelled of roses. My father introduced her to me, his eyes bright for the first time in years. "Laura, this is Clara," he said, his voice full of hope. She knelt beside me, touched my cheek, and said, "You're even prettier than I imagined." I smiled shyly, thinking maybe, just maybe, I could have a mother again. As months passed, they went on dates, and soon enough, my father told me they were getting married. I was happy because he was happy. On their wedding day, he looked younger, lighter, like the man I remembered before my mother died. For a while, things were good. Clara took me to parks, baked cookies with me, and told me bedtime stories. I started to believe life could be beautiful again, but slowly, everything began to change. It started with small things. She'd tell me to redo my chores because I hadn't done them properly. Then she'd scold me for spilling milk or forgetting to say thank you. My father didn't notice. He was busy at work, and whenever Clara smiled around him, everything looked perfect. But when he wasn't home, her face turned cold. She'd give me long lists of chores: cleaning, washing, polishing shoes, things no child should do alone. If I made a mistake, she'd say, "You're just like your mother, too soft, too slow." I didn't understand what I had done wrong. Soon, she made me study late into the night, sitting on the cold kitchen floor because she said I needed to learn discipline. My eyes would sting from tears and exhaustion, but I was too afraid to stop. When my grades started dropping from tiredness, she told my father I was lazy and didn't care about school. My father, already stressed from work, began to scold me too. "Laura, you have to do better," he'd say, disappointment heavy in his voice. I wanted to tell him the truth, that I tried, that I missed sleeping peacefully, that I missed my mother. But every time I opened my mouth, Clara would interrupt, saying, "She's fine. She just needs structure." Then one day,